welcome to the One for the Road podcast. My name is Mr. K. Alongside me, as always, is C Squared. Tonight's episode, Gone but Not Forgotten. Prominent musicians and singers we've lost recently. 2026 has started out horribly in that regard, and we've lost a lot of great people in 2025. The newest who have passed away, unfortunately, is Bob Weir of the Grateful Dead, lead guitarist, co-founder, major figure in rock and roll, unsung great guitarist, died at 78 a couple weeks ago. Played in several bands beyond the Grateful Dead, I learned. I didn't know he was in Kingfish, Rat Dog, and Further. In 1994, he was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as a member of the Grateful Dead. He also received Kennedy Center honors in 2024 as a member of the Grateful Dead.
And having gone to a show or two, we miss Bobby, we miss
Yeah.
Jerry, we miss Brent, we miss them all, and the Philster.
Yeah.
So Phil died within the past year too.
Yes, 2024. Late 2024.
Yeah, okay, there you go.
Well,
Must have been the
yep.
end. And so wow. And so
Yeah.
that operation is, I'm not sure they're grateful, but they are truly dead. And
It's unfortunate.
they did some nice things for Bobby, which was lit up some buildings in tie-dye in New York, had a memorial for him in San Francisco, the home of psychedelic rock
Yes.
in the 60s.
Yes.
And I'll tell you that it beats the heck out of having a riot.
Yes, yes, yes.
To say the least. So, Bobby, it was a great, long, strange trip. Thanks for the ride, brother. Hope
Yep.
everything's good on the other side.
Yep. San Francisco native and born and bred, one of their favorite sons. We're gonna go to 2025. Ozzy Osbourne. When you say Ozzy, everybody
Ozzy!
heavy metal icon, frontman of Black Sabbath. He died in July of 2025. He was 76. Ozzy's real name was John.
John
Fun
Osborne.
fact I learned.
Ah,
And
interesting.
shockingly born in England. You couldn't tell from his accent.
Yeah, exactly, dude. Or,
He
or
was
the
once
fact that he
go ahead.
wanders around clueless with the accent, so then can't understand. He's not only clueless, you can't understand him either. And
Right. We'll go into some reasons why. He
yeah,
was once dubbed the Prince of Darkness. Of course, he founded Black Sabbath in '68. Uh, Osbourne's substance abuse problems at times caused friction with the band. I know
yeah,
that's a shocker.
to say the least.
So
And
here's some good stories I heard about him. After leaving Black Sabbath, he got 96,000 pounds, which back then was a lot of money. I mean, right now it's a lot of money, but back then, like 72,
yeah, right.
96,000 pounds.
Did they pay him to leave? I'm assuming
Yeah.
so.
It,
He took the buyout.
it was for the share of the name of the band. So he celebrated by locking himself in a room for 3 months on coke and booze.
That's funny. And because of the fact that, yeah, I think he ended up making quite a bit, although,
Yeah.
from what I understand, Sharon Osbourne and Dio's wife were not very friendly with the bands. In fact, they had tried to figure out ways to rip them off at every turn.
Oh, wow. Wow.
And I heard that directly from a source. And
Hmm.
so,
Yeah, the one thing I read about Sharon was if it wasn't for her, he'd been dead long ago, and she kind of cleaned him up a bit.
yeah, that's because he was the money making machine.
Right.
And
He was diagnosed as dyslexic. Another fact I read about Ozzy took LSD for every day for 2 years straight.
That explains a lot, and the dyslexic explains a lot too. So you don't have to play the albums backwards to get the satanic message.
Right,
And Ozzy was just giving it flat out because he was reading the lyrics backwards.
right, right. The last fact I have on him is it took him 19 times attempts to get his driver's license.
19! That's
His driver's
hilarious.
license, 18, driver's test 18 times.
It's
And
amazing that they let you take it that many
yeah,
times
and
back in the
given,
day.
yes, given his substance abuse problems, it's a miracle he made it to 76, but he did.
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah.
Next on the list is Brian Wilson, co-founder of the Beach Boys,
Oh,
iconic
yeah.
legend, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame member, of course. Shockingly born in California. I thought he was from Alabama. Uh,
Yeah. Well, Muscle Shoals was there.
right. Of course, credited with being one of the most innovative and significant musical figures of his era. Started the Beach Boys in 61. Did everything songwriter, producer, co-lead vocalist, bassist, keyboardist, de facto leader.
Oh, yeah.
Uh, Had quite some issues with substance and unfortunately some mental health issues. Two
Yeah,
good
that's
movies about his, well, one good movie about him and one good movie about the Beach Boys. There's a made-for-TV movie about the Beach Boys that was made in the 80s. I think it was called Summer of Love, the story of the Beach Boys. That's quite good, and they go into some of Brian's problems, but that movie focused on Murray, the dad. You ever hear about him, C Squared?
I did not.
Oh, he was a beaut.
Was he like the stage father?
Yes, and reaping all the money. Yeah, and actually, and quite the physical abuser of all the Wilson children.
That sounds a little bit like the Jackson story. And
Yes.
also, I read, and I'm not sure how true this is, but that the Grateful Dead's second keyboard player, who was deceased, Keith Godshaw's dad, managed the band for a short period of time after they figured out he was embezzling like $300,000
Mm,
from them, and they actually, I think, prosecuted him, and he went to
right.
prison for 5 years for ripping the band off.
So I don't know if it's true. It's rumored that Murray slapped Brian so hard on the ear when he was a kid that he was somewhat deaf in that ear.
Really
Yeah.
interesting.
I don't know if that's confirmed, but that's been brought up a bunch. It is in the movie, so
There you
it's
are.
quite interesting. The other thing about Murray was in the 70s, he sold the Beach Boys rights to all of their music to uh, Capitol Records, I don't know, some records for 750 grand without the
Yikes!
band's knowledge.
That
Uh,
you
and but he
wonder.
did distribute the money to them. Everybody's like, only 750 grand. Back then, 750 grand was 14 mil.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
cost
There
of
you go.
living adjustments.
Yeah. Yeah. I
So,
mean, they would have had to wait quite a number of years to sell the catalog for $50 million.
right.
So
So, but he did it without their knowledge. They were not pleased, and that's brought up in that
I'm
movie too.
thinking not. And
So, Love and Mercy's a good movie. That's specifically Brian Wilson. Paul Dano plays the young Brian Wilson. John Cusack plays the older Brian Wilson. The story is centered around Eugene Landy was Brian Wilson's psychologist, and he was really not helping Brian, and he was the one who was charging Brian exorbitant fees and not really treating him. But
So were they? They were L.A. bound? Were they happened to be in Laurel Canyon or that whole crew of
yeah,
people? Interesting. Yeah, there's all that place was like interestingly, weirdly creepy.
right, right,
And but that's for another episode.
right,
And
right. But the other good story about Love and Mercy is Brian Wilson falls in love with a car dealership spokesperson. Uh, what's her real name? Oh, her last name was Ledbetter. I forget her first name, but she eventually fell in love with Brian and got him legally separated from the psychologist, and they again got married. And
oh no.
they were married until her recent demise in like 2022, I believe.
Oh well, that's
So,
good. So
but
that would
good movie, Love and Mercy. Highly recommend it. Moving on. Ace Frehley, also known as Space
be
Ace and
really there. You
Spaceman,
are, man.
member of Kiss and lead guitarist. He died in October. He was 74. Very underrated member of Kiss since he was the lead guitarist, and it seemed like Stanley and Simmons stole most of the limelight because they sang.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, Freely left in 82 after founding the band in 73. I didn't know this. He would do gigs in the 70s where his guitar emitted smoke.
Interesting. They well, I'm not sure he was a smoking guitar player,
Right,
but they but what you lack in physical ability, you actually make up for in special effects.
right.
That's the rock and roll business.
Yes. I was like, that's a dang cool effect for the 70s, is to have your
Yeah, yeah,
guitar
oh, yeah.
smoking as you're playing.
Well, I've watched a bunch of stuff. I watched some early Triumph stuff, and they're in these little clubs blowing off explosives and all
Oh,
kinds of stuff like
geez.
that. And it's like, dude, this is nowadays. This is, and I'm thinking that these places were fire traps, man. It's
No.
like, holy moly. So we're just kind of lucky that we have as many live musicians as we do
Yes.
after some of the stuff that went on in the 70s.
Yes. Well, it's ironic a little bit. I think it was the 80s and Docker set off fireworks in this bar and it caught fire and it was a horror show.
Yeah, 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 right, right.
I might got Docker wrong, but I think it was Docker. Anyways, that I didn't research, so don't quote me.
Yeah,
Uh, Frehley is well recognized. They said he loved Gibson Les Paul guitars.
yep, they were common.
You know,
Made
next,
Jimmy Page, man.
yes, that's right.
They that's I'll just go down this rabbit hole for just a second. I actually read somewhere that Jimmy was playing a Strat from the Yardbirds, and then he essentially left, stuff like that, and he met Joe Walsh. And Joe Walsh blew him some shit and said, "What are you using that piece of crap for? You should get
Hmm.
yourself a Les Paul." And that made the Led Zeppelin
Oh
sound.
wow,
And
oh wow!
so there
I didn't
you
know
go.
that. That's a good
Interesting.
story. Next on the list is Sly Stone. His real name was Sylvester. What is it? Find it.
Stallone.
Yeah, Sylvester Stallone. Sylvester
I have
Stewart.
you ever seen those two in the same
I
place?
know. I have not. So I think you're on to something. But I believe Sylvester Stallone is alive, and Sylvester
Yeah,
Stewart.
we'll have to save that one for the conspiracy
Yeah,
channel
yeah,
along with the Laurel Canyon story.
yeah. Yes. Sylvester Stewart was his real name, not too surprising. Pioneer of funk. Only
That's pioneer of funk. His bass player supposedly invented the slap in Middletown,
Oh
Ohio.
wow.
And I can't think of his bass player's name now, but supposedly invented the slapping that became prevalent in
Right.
funk. And
Uh, yeah. He died at
yes,
82 in June. AllMusic stated that James Brown may have invented funk, but Sly Stone perfected it.
oh yeah, and and Sly had a sad life after things. I think things went bad for Sly, and he never quite came back and made it happen. And
Yeah, they had a lot of big hits in the late 60s and early 70s. I think his last big hit was Family Affair in 71, but Dance with the Music, Everyday People were huge hits. Uh, the beginning of the end is what I started. They said in 69, Stone and his bandmates started using lots of illegal substances like cocaine and PCP.
yikes.
It was once rumored that Stone carried a violin case full of illegal drugs wherever he went.
That well, he unfortunately, I think, went into like parking a camper in front of his son's house in California. So that was probably a bad strategy.
All right.
But hats off to Sly,
Yeah.
man. I
Yeah.
love funk, and Sly was smoking, man.
Yes. Yes. Very talented. Really, really great songs. Next on the list is Roberta Flack, soul and R&B legend, Killing Me Softly. Big, big song. Lots of big hits early on in her career. First time I ever saw your face. Feel like making love. Uh, I Clint Eastwood is prominent in discovering Roberta Flack. Heard her song, which didn't have any airplay at the time. First time I saw your face, and in his directorial debut, demanded that the song be put in the movie, and it was. After the movie came out, that song took off.
Well, God bless Clint, because he plays the piano too.
Oh
There's
yeah,
there's some stuff. Yeah, he like actually does some things with a bunch of jazz players, man.
oh
So
yeah.
not
I
not
think
not
I've
so
heard
much
that.
playing, but does like interviews with some jazz players and stuff. Very cool.
That's cool. Uh, yeah, that so first time was a huge hit in 72. In the 80s, scored a big hit with Peebo Bryson, Tonight I Celebrate My Love. Uh, so lots of good pop hits from her. Next on the list, I have Marianne Faithfull. Uh, do you know, quiz for C squared? What was Marianne Faithfull's big hit in 65?
Yo, you got me.
So I didn't know this, and I know the other version of this. She sang the first version of As Tears Go By. It was written by Jagger and Richards, but they gave her the song to sing first.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, and so they did or redid some R&B type of stuff, and ain't too proud to beg, man. So that's like the
right.
supreme, I think,
Yeah.
hand type stuff. That's fabulous, man.
Well, yeah, I did not know that because I was like, well, that's a Rolling Stones song. And they're like, yeah, but they gave it to Marianne Faithfull first, and then they eventually made
There
their
was some
version of
cool
it.
stuff going on in the 60s and early 70s, especially with that R&B stuff and the studio down in Alabama known as Muscle Shoals, who
Mm.
produced all kinds of R&B stuff before they kind of picked it up and started doing stuff with the Allman Brothers and Skinner and stuff like
Uh-huh.
that, man. But they had some great R&B stuff at the early, because Dwayne Allman was a session guitar player. If you look at some of the
Uh,
original stuff that he did, it's on like 1962 R&B albums
Hmm.
as a backup player, man. So very interesting.
You know who was a really good session guitarist for a number of years in the 60s and 70s?
I'm trying to think here. I don't know.
Glenn Campbell.
Oh yeah.
He's
Oh,
on
absolutely.
tons of other people's songs as the guitarist,
Fabulous. Yeah, no,
like
fabulous
rhythm
guitar
guitarist.
player. Fabulous guitar player. Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of those
Uh,
country guys highly underrated. Yeah.
yes, yes. Marianne Faithfull, pretty good voice, easy on the eyes.
Yep.
Scored quite the comeback in '79, had this techno album started checking out, Broken English. They said it was really popular in England in '79 and kind of reinvented herself because she was kind of R&B in the '60s and like became techno, kind of on the edge of that in '79.
Right. That's cool.
The last one I got is Quincy Jones. This is late 2024. Quincy Jones died in November of 2024. He was
Talk about
91.
an icon.
Yes, he had
And
quite the run.
I wonder how much his catalog of music is worth.
Yes,
Probably like
I think he had a little bit of money. He produced the th one of three of the most best-selling albums of all time because they were made by Michael Jackson: Thriller, On the Wall, and Bad.
there you go. Well, he had a repertoire of people that he essentially worked with, and supposedly a humongous catalog. And
Yes,
and a little bit of a story there is that Prince, I think, kind of was going to use the Quincy Jones model, wanted to do producing too.
right.
So
Yeah.
supposedly Prince had taken a bunch of money that he had and bought like tens of thousands, the rights to tens of thousands of songs. And
Hmm.
that was the Quincy Jones story too, is he had a catalog
Wow.
of like an extensive catalog, not 100, like thousands, tens of thousands of songs that he had the rights to. And
Yeah, quite the interesting career. Started in the 50s as a band leader, often collaborated with Frank Sinatra in the 50s.
there you go.
Uh, and yeah, in the 60s. Oh, and didn't know this. Composed numerous film scores from 1960 to as late as 1980. He had a 20-year run where he composed numerous film scores.
That's fabulous.
And
Yeah.
I forgot this, produced and conducted the charity song We Are the World.
Okay, well.
I lost you there.
Yeah. we'll, we'll,
Uh,
we'll give it, we'll give him that one.
right. And yeah. Well, that's all I got. Anything else you want to chime in
No,
here
I
with
can't
C
think of
squared?
anybody. I can't think of anybody else that died because I have this rock star syndrome, man.
Yes.
And I'm starting to forget Ozzy's first name.
Right,
And
right. You dropped acid every day for 2 years without
exactly,
you were
yeah,
his
yeah. While I
partner.
was on, while I was on tour in the early '70s.
Yeah, yeah. At four, age of four.
Exactly. And
All right, everybody.
The Jacksons were going to add me, but
You'd have blended.
exactly.
All right. You can reach us an email at one for the road podcast at gmail.com. That's the number one, the number four. We have a website, onefortheroad.net. It also begins with the number one, the number four. You can get us on four audio platforms. I found another one, C squared.
Yeah.
You can reach us on their new one, Zeno.fm. That's Zeno. We're on there. So our entire catalog of episodes is on Zeno.fm. It's also on Spotify, RSS, and Podbean. Of course, we're on YouTube. Like and subscribe to us on YouTube for C squared. This is Mr. K. Have a good week.
Thanks, folks. See ya.